Hey, good to see you. My name is Random Items, and I play 3 free epic games to determine whether or not they were even worth claiming. And if you like this video, make sure to subscribe, I'll be doing more. On to the first game. Welcome to Citizen Sleeper, a story-based game with dice aspects. But let's start from the beginning. First, you pick one of 3 classes, and then you're instantly put into the world of Citizen Sleeper. You wake up on the Eye, which is a space station, and we learn that you are what is called a sleeper, or a robot / mind copy of somebody else. You quickly learn, while this is a dystopian world where capitalism is evil, big shocker, that it's not all hopeless, and that there are people who are actually nice on this ship and who will actually help you out. And boy oh boy, will you need help, and most importantly work, because you are a robot with proprietary tech, and that tech is slowly degrading so that nobody can steal, well, you. And that's the basic gist of the story. I really want to say more here, but I also really don't want to spoil this. This game's writing is stellar, along with looking visually pleasing and sounding good too. Beyond the game story and what makes it look good, let's go into the gameplay of this game. Every game takes place in cycles, which pass along the time and regenerate these dice that you get every day. These dice determine whether or not you succeed or fail at different tasks, with the higher the dice being the more likely that you'll succeed, or you'll more than succeed, which is called a positive result. While this may seem mediocre at first, it actually plays a lot into how the world progresses. When you commit to certain actions, you're filling up gauges that cause literal changes around you. These changes can be as minor as a town noticing you or you discovering new areas, or as major as building a ship or progressing along a main storyline. This style of game is infectious, and it really itches that one more turn mentality. So much to the point that this is one of the games that I actually finished. And I do plan to go back and finish the other storylines as well. Yes, there are multiple endings to this game, and while a lot of story-based games can feel like you're locked into a storyline at a certain point, this game really doesn't do that. And it gives you a lot of options on what you want to pursue, and to figure out which ending you actually want to go for. For anybody wondering, I went for Lem and Mina's ending, and I almost cried. Overall, this game's story is really good. Its management isn't too overbearing, but it's still important enough for you to think ahead about. This game is by far not Slop, and I honestly would recommend picking it up on Steam if you didn't on Epic. Heck, this game might even be worth opening Epic Games for. Also, now I might host a D&D game in this world, it's just that cool. Anyways, on to our next game. Welcome to Robo. Yes, it's a roguelike. 4 of the 5 episodes I've made on this series have contained a roguelike, because for some reason everyone and their mother wants to make another roguelike game. But we'll give this one a shot, just like we do all the others. I won't go into this thinking, a roguelike. Robo is what I would define as Ultra Kill and Crypta the Necrodancer combined. Yes, you may only shoot on beat. If you do not shoot on beat, it does less damage. That's the basic premise of this game, is shooting on beat, doing things to the music. So let's go over what this game did right and what this game did wrong. First, the music is pretty good. You can switch the music anytime you like. There's a lot of tracks, and I found all of them to be pretty alright. None of them were distinctly amazing, but none of them were bad either. It has normal roguelike aspects like shops, different items. The guns are cool, including some that are just straight up a ping pong ball, which I think is awesome. But beyond that, that's really all I have to say that this game does well. One of the most important things that comes to mind is movement. This game does not have momentum carrying, even though I feel like it should. I find the most annoying part is that I would like to slide backwards, but you can't do that when you jump in the air, because then you'll do a dash downwards, and it kind of ruins my whole feeling of movement. But that's not the end of the world. After all, not every game needs to feel as good as Ultra Kill. So let's go into the other aspect of the game that's pretty major. Parrying. Yes, parrying is major in this game, just like Ultra Kill. But this parrying doesn't feel good at all. In fact, it doesn't feel like anything. There's no response that you get when you do a parry. And that's really annoying when every boss fight that I had made parrying required. Also, for some reason, this game gives you 2 weapons, even though you kind of only need one, and I only found time for one. It's not really useful or advantageous to use more than one gun. You kind of just stick with the one that's the best and then go on beat from there. In terms of roguelikes, this game has roguelike elements, so therefore it qualifies. But other than that, there's nothing super interesting beyond maybe these tarot cards that I didn't find very often and gave okay effects. Still, I think a movement shooter should have better movement than this. I'm gonna have to certify this game as free Epic Games Slop. It's just not worth opening Epic Games for. Next! Welcome to Doomblade. Alright, so this is a Metroidvania with an interesting take that I haven't seen before, which is attacking with your mouse. Now, this isn't going to reach the bar of any of the other major Metroidvanias, like Metroid and or Hollow Knight or Hollow Knight Silksong, but it's standalone pretty good. There are some minor quality of life things that really annoy me. Like every time that you die, you go back to the previous save, and then you have to redo literally everything, including collectibles. Also, there are a lot of lore statues around here that you just can't read. And honestly, I'm not going back here just to read 2 slabs. I don't care how good your lore is. I'm not backtracking to read. Speaking of backtracking, that's all well and good, except for the times when you get into new areas with new abilities and then learn that you can't actually continue in the new area with the new abilities because you haven't unlocked a newer ability in which you need to continue to go down this path, and you get absolutely nothing for going and finding a new area again. Yeah, that was a lot, but it really annoyed me that I traveled all the way back just to figure out that I can't actually progress anywhere. Another really important part of every Metroidvania is the boss fights, which I found alright. They were kind of boring and they didn't really instill the epicness that the music that played during them did. This giant squid guy would just bite, and then you'd hit him once, and you bite again, and then you hit him once, and then he'd eventually suck you in, into which you go around and deal damage to these tentacles. The second phase is a lot more interesting than the first, and I was honestly quite bored. I know it sounds like I'm dogging on this game quite a bit, but for every complaint I have about this game, I think it makes up for in visual style and combat. Oh, and the music. Don't forget the music. Very Mick Gordon-esque. This game's not bad, especially when we compare it to other Epic Games titles that have been free. And while I think it lacks a lot of refinement and quality of life, this game can be legitimately fun if you push past it. Which, hey, that's the full point of a game, right? And while I don't know if I would recommend playing this on Epic, you could definitely try the demo on Steam to see if you're interested in it. So no, this game is not Slop, but it's also not really worth opening Epic Games, at least not for me. Thanks for sticking around to the end of the video. If you liked it, please subscribe. I'll be doing more, and I'll see you on the next one. Also, leave a comment if you disagree with me. I love engagement!